Hello, YouTube. Hello, TikTok. We're going live on both. How are we going? I'm super excited to speak about this because I was riffing about it on Threads this morning. I'm always excited to bring you guys a topic that I'm either talking about over on Threads or I'm talking about to my clients. And actually, this is one of the things I was thinking about in regards to my clients. Just a little bit of a backstory to all of this. We are going to be diving into what I think the number one thing is to move the needle in your business, career, relationships, health, anything, which is consistency. And I know that you've probably heard it time and time again, but it absolutely is key. And I'm going to share with you some different perspectives and the reason why I have felt called to speak about it and to riff about it on Threads and with my clients. So the bit of the backstory is this week I've had a couple of my clients, both one-on-one and both my mastermind client, which by the way, my mastermind, Wool Mastery Mastermind, is open. The waitlist is open for Q2 enrollment. Wool Mastery Mastermind is all about elevating your success and your fulfillment in your relationships, your career, and your wealth through subconscious reprogramming. So if you're at this place in life, and maybe if like you've watched any of my stuff, you watched today and you really resonate, it's probably going to be for you if you're a high achieving woman. But if you're at a place in life where you have been doing the work, you have been doing the things, but you're just like, I am ready for that next upgrade. I'm ready to up level across all boards of my life, then Wool Mastery Mastermind is going to be for you. But I digress. We'll talk about that a little bit later in this live. But what I wanted to share the backstory is a couple of my clients, my one-on-one clients, a couple of my mastermind clients, they have just in the past couple of weeks, and especially it was solidified to me this week, is they have just had this enormous, outrageous upgrade in their life, not just spiritually, not just energetically, but quite literally in their 3D physical reality. They are seeing the work that they're putting in. They always come to me and they thank me and they're so grateful and so loving for the work we've done. But I'm like, and this is what we'll speak about today. But I say, I give you the concepts, the frameworks, the different ways to reframe things, the different ways to go about your life, but you are the one implementing them. So I think it's really important. This is just a side note. I think there are a lot of coaches out there that like to take a lot of the credit for all of the wins that their clients are having. But remember, at the end of the day, the client, yes, you may have the concepts and you may have the frameworks, but your client is the one implementing them and staying consistent, which is what we're going to talk about today. So if you're watching, if you were struggling with your consistency or you feel like it's such a drag, then this is for you. But one thing I noticed this week is across all of these clients, they are changing career, business, quitting jobs, they are traveling, they are moving there where they're living, residency, moving state, they're making money, they're ending relationships, health is improving. Everything is up leveling and upgrading. And there are a lot of different things that I have done, and these are the frameworks that I give all my clients. My 3 phases in my mastermind. The Wool Mastery framework is subconscious reprogramming, identity shifting, and nervous system regulation. But to tie everything together, they have had consistency. I've been working these 3 particular clients that I am thinking of and I'm speaking to about. One of them's been with me for a couple of years, the other just over a year. The other has been probably I think 7 months now. So different ranges. But one thing that I can attest is their consistency, their ability to be consistent, to show up, even when their 3D physical reality isn't showing the results that they are working for, even when their bank account doesn't show the money, even when their business or career isn't showing the results that they feel that they're putting in the work every single day, when their health isn't where they want it to be, when their relationships aren't aligned. They are every single day being consistent in one of 3 phases, if not all of these 3 phases. Because when you learn these phases, again, if you just join, I'll go through it. It's my Wool Mastery framework. It's phase 1, subconscious reprogramming of your belief system. Phase 2, it's identity shifting and stepping into the embodiment of the self-concept you desire. And phase 3 is regulating your nervous system to a brand new capacity. So if it's anything you want to take away from today's live, it's this: if you implement these 3 things, like even if you don't come work with me and you go learn about these things and you go implement these 3 phases, it is called the woman mastery framework, because you will master yourself as a woman. And what I have seen with these clients is a consistency to focus on these 3 phases. And like I said, it doesn't mean they're focusing on it every single day, each little piece. A lot of them have been in the second phase, the identity, for a long time, the next phase of the regulation. And I just wanted to bring this reminder that you can have, let's say you're starting a business, you can have the best camera gear, the best setup, like, couch for a podcast, or your office can have the nicest, newest furniture. You can hire 10 virtual assistants to help you. You can have X amount of followers. But if you are not consistent in your efforts to move the needle, to put in 1% of messy inspired action every single day, nothing is going to move you forward into the long term. Something I also speak about with my clients is that the 1% of messy inspired action, which is something I've been saying on my podcast for years. I started the Jessica Pinili podcast in 2018. But one thing that I've been saying is, and I think I said this in yesterday live, stop looking for this quantum leap. I think the manifestation industry and all of those gurus have kind of like romanticized this idea of quantum leaping. And what I want you to remember is a quantum leap, in my perspective and what I've seen with hundreds of women that I've worked with, is the micro moments that get you to this point. So maybe you start here and you are consistent and you're taking that 1%. Sometimes your 1% looks like this. Sometimes your 1% looks like this, but you are working up to this phase where all of a sudden you take this big leap. That is what I would call a quantum leap. I think a lot of gurus and people in this industry and a lot of people in this space talk about, you're here and then all of a sudden one day you wake up and you're all the way over here and you've quantum leap. Like I said, I have seen this in myself. I've seen this in hundreds of clients that I've worked with, hundreds of people who have listened to my podcast as well. It is the micro moments, which brings us down to the theme of this conversation today, which is consistency. You may think, like, if you were stop starting your efforts, and all of you watching live on YouTube, hello. All of you watching live here on TikTok, hello. If you have any questions, let me know. But if you were stop starting, like, you may go really, really hard for like 2 weeks straight, 3 weeks straight. I normally say like on average, a 21-day cycle where high achieving women are like going for it. They're showing up, they're dressing like their higher self, they are, dating as their higher self, they're working on their health. And then it gets to the 21-day mark, they don't see the results and they give up. And they start to fall into old belief systems. They start to fall into an old identity. They start to feel really, really dysregulated, really, really extremely burnt out, that they can't neutralize their emotions. They can't manage the emotional roller coaster they're on. And then they will just like have this break and they chill and the momentum's lost, the energetic, right? One thing, if you're new, can you talk about the time of uncertainty? Absolutely. That's really great. Do you want to add on to anything specific you want to know? And I'm going to feed it into what I'm saying, because it actually, synchronicity, feeds into what I'm saying. But add anything else that you want specifically me to talk about when it comes to uncertainty. And so what I see is that women will get to this period and then they'll kind of relax. There's a really great, and I want you all to search it up. You've probably seen it. There's a really, really great like picture meme, and it's cartoon. Like, type into Google cartoon of guy, like character, digging a mine and then stops, something like that. I wish I could bring it up. But basically what it said, it's like 2 separate. It shows one guy, it shows this guy, sorry, it's one separate picture. And the guy's a cartoon character. He's in a mine. He's got like the mining pitchfork thingy going. All he needed was one more hit. All he needed was one more hit. And there was going to be diamonds at the end of that. All it was one more hit. And you see this picture, he's holding his pitchfork, he's walking away, and all he needed was one more hit. This is where I see so many high achieving women is they just need to hold that energy, hold the phase of where they're at, hold the uncertainty. And this is a perfect like segue, the period between the quantum leap, hold the uncertainty of where they are currently at. Your ability to hold the uncertain vibration, but also simultaneously hold the vibration of the knowingness that you are in aligned action and authentic to yourself, which I'll go to in a second. So remind me if I don't come back to it. Is a direct reflection of how much you trust yourself. And a lot of people don't want to hear this. A lot of women, this is what I speak about so much in my mastermind. I actually got a question. We do weekly calls in the mastermind and everyone submits a question. One of the questions tonight is actually about self-trust. Your ability to hold the period between where you are and the part where you're about to quantum leap into who you want to be is your ability to trust yourself. If you don't trust yourself, you will never ever back yourself. And if you don't back yourself, you will never ever be able to go for anything you want. Like if you can't back yourself, what do you have? And so like I said, the average that I've seen a lot of the time, I don't know if this is backed by science or whatever. I've just seen this with being in this business, working with women for almost a decade. The period is like 21 days, 3 weeks. And they cannot hold that uncertainty. They get too uncomfortable. Do you know what the uncomfortable is? It's your inability. This is why I have 3 phases, and phase 3 is about regulation. And it's not just feel peace in my heart and breath work. The regulation phase is actually about how do we expand you to a brand new capacity? How do we actually get you to, in this uncertainty, like you're exposing yourself to new ways of being. And the moment these women give up at the 21 days on average is all of a sudden they get too uncomfortable in their body. And then when they get like the phases go phase 1, 2, 3, but then it tips. And this is where it all kind of falls apart and where I see women in this repeated self-sabotaging cycle, because then the regulation, they start to get dysregulated. They start to feel this is too uncomfortable. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Then it feeds into the identity. Well, who am I? How can I possibly go for this? How can I be this person in the gym? How can I be this person in my business? Who am I to think that I could be this great woman that men are attracted to and want to date? You know, examples. Then it feeds into the belief system. And you are then, when you have a thought, remember, this is mindset 101. The more you repeat a thought, the more it impresses into your subconscious mind. The subconscious mind doesn't know what is right or wrong. The subconscious mind doesn't know what's true or false. So then there is more time spent of the women tipping into the downward spiral than there is in the period of working consistently. How do you break the 21-day cycle? Okay, great question. So we're getting to this. And like I said, this is like, I don't know if this is scientifically proven. This is just what I've seen with a lot of high achieving women. And it normally gets to the 20 to 25 day period. And they're kind of like, I'm out. It's too uncomfortable. I'm going to go back to not showing up online, or I'm going to go back to ghosting everyone. Then I'm going to go a date to, or I'm going to go back to only going to the gym 1 time a week. So how do we break into that? My first thing is, like, women will normally feel 1 or 2 things, if not both of these things: overwhelm and frustration. When you feel overwhelmed versus stress means that you just have an inability to manage your emotions and your time. But if you're feeling overwhelmed, you must stop, because that is signaling. A lot of what I do with the work is, and in this business, is practicality. I love the energetics. I love the spiritual parts of it, but you need the practicality. And so a lot of women need to actually, when they're overwhelmed, they need to stop. Stop what you're doing. Stop trying to add more to your routine. Stop trying to be more and do more. Stop trying to, maybe you're having a day where you're like, okay, I was feeling really, really good yesterday about like being my higher self and being my richest self and all of this, and like having clients sign on or getting the promotion at work, but now today I don't feel it. Stop. Do nothing. Process. The reason why, like I said, phase 1, 2, 3, reprogramming, identity, regulation. The reason why it tips is because this is the part you need to focus on first when it all feels like it's coming undone. When you feel like, oh my God, I'm getting no results, I'm uncertain, is this for me? Here, stop, because we're at the regulation. The regulation is the body. The regulation is the nervous system. You need to somatically feel. And I know some of you might be watching. I'm going to acknowledge TikTok comments in a second. I know some of you might be watching and think, oh my God, no, like give me something more practical, or give me something better. Or this is the issue with the industry, right? And I'm going to call out a lot of coaches here where they're just like giving their clients over and over again. You know what I said? One of my clients who has been working with me for 4 years, she asked something the other day. And you know what I said to her? I didn't give her another journaling prompt. I didn't give her another mindset tip or trick. I didn't give her another book to read or another podcast. Do you know what I said to her? I said to her, just go away for a day or two, and sit. Just like, obviously, get along with your day, etc. But just do nothing. Add nothing. I'm not going to give you anything. So many coaches don't trust their own framework or their ability. Like I said, I've seen this framework over and over again in myself. I practice what I preach. And so when you're here and it's flipped, you need to have the ability to trust yourself to be able to get quiet. Oh my God, that's exactly what I'm doing. But I also feel like if I don't do anything, it gets worse. Yes. So then what starts to happen? This is where most people in the cycle start to still, like, it's quite literally spiral down. If we imagine like this funnel, it's because they don't have the ability. They're not trusting themselves to process, to sit still, to understand why, where do I feel uncomfortable? Where do I feel uncomfortable in my body, in my heart space, my arms, my head? Am I starting to get sick? Like, is my throat chakra? And then it feeds into the identity. And that's where we start to think this is getting worse. Like, I'm not that type of person. If I don't keep doing stuff, I'm not going to make X amount in my business, or I'm not going to get promoted at work. And then and remember, I'm going to come back to the authenticity alignment piece in a second. I haven't forgotten. And then it feeds into those thoughts. And the stillness is hard. It feels like you're not doing enough, because why? As high achieving women, we have been created into this society where it's go, 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 chaos, right? And we're not victims here. We're not going to be like, oh my God, yes, society's so chaotic. This is like, that's my toxic trait. I'm going to sit. No, you get to be different, but you get to teach yourself a different way of being. You get to teach yourself a different, if you also have a chaotic, childhood, a chaotic upbringing, chaotic relationships, yes, of course, this plays into it. But the number one thing that I have said in all of the years of this business, my business before this, is build your self-trust. If it's any way you're looking to really focus on, build your self-trust. How can you make promises to yourself daily and keep them? There is no trick to self-trust. The trick is to do the things that you said you're going to do. That's the ultimate version of self-trust. And so when you have the ability to tap into that, and this is like getting me really excited. Like I said, I got a question around self-trust for my mastermind tonight. And again, if you're resonating with this, you want to be with a community of like-minded women, and you're ready for like the upgrade and the up level, whether you're a business owner, you're a 9-to-5 girly, single mom in a relationship. This is for all high achieving women that are like, I'm ready for the next up level. Like, I'm ready to reprogram myself to solidify everything that I bring. I encourage you, link in bio, show notes for my YouTube, go and apply on the wait list for Mastering Mastermind for Q2. These are the types of conversations that we have. Like, you're basically getting a little bit of a, like an example of how I coach and my type of energy. My energy is not for everyone, and that's fine. But I highly recommend, and if you have questions, Instagram, DM me at Jess Pinili. Slide into my DMs. You obviously can tell I love to have a chat. But everything that you're doing, if it feels like, okay, I also want to bring to the awareness when it comes to the consistency part, is the consistency can also feel hard. Everything's perceived, everything's a perception. For a couple of other things I want you to look, I'm just going to give you fully like what I spoke to my three clients from this week who are going through major up levels. Okay, what I said to them: if the consistency feels hard, perceived hard, number one, what are your values? Is everything you're doing right in this moment in alignment with what you actually value? And I'm not talking about I value family and I value money. No. Do you value family because of the connection? or the validation or the status you get, or from the connection piece. Do you actually value business because of money, or do you value it for the impact you make? Like, you got to get really, and I do this with all of my clients, I go through their values because everything guides your values. Number two, the alignment, the consistency. Like, something's going to feel hard if it's not truly you. If it's not truly you, and this goes hand in hand with what I was saying, the more you build self-trust, the more you learn what is truly you, the more you learn who you truly are. And you need to be able to fail and succeed to learn all aspects of who you truly are. Another great question: what to do when you feel like doing something and then at another point it doesn't feel aligned? Okay, if you get this urge to do something and then as you're starting to do it, you feel it's not aligned, you need to ask yourself a couple of questions. Number one, what was the reason that I started this action, or why did I start this thing? What was the purpose behind why I wanted to do it? And you'd probably shock yourself, and probably the answer will come up. Again, this comes in alignment with your values. Like, what did I value when I made this choice? Number two, when it doesn't feel aligned, again, we need to get honest. Does it not feel aligned, or am I just feeling dysregulated because I'm about to change my life? Or am I feeling really uncomfortable because I'm about to break into a brand new identity? Am I actually doesn't feel aligned because I'm about to change the trajectory of where I'm heading? And this could possibly make me more successful. Something else I give my clients, I'm giving you guys all the secrets today. I'm like loving this conversation. Define your version of success. Define it, because it could be $1 million in the bank, or it could be living on a farm with 100 puppies. But it's up to you. And sometimes when something doesn't feel aligned, we actually need to, if we don't have a good enough relationship with ourselves and the self-trust that we have, then we need to also be honest, like, is this just the self-sabotaging patterns and behaviors that are coming up to keep me the same? I love that. Thank you. You're so welcome. Great questions. Any other questions? Hello to everyone that's also joined on TikTok and to YouTube as well. Any questions? You can see, like, I love this topic. It's making me very excited for my mastermind call tonight with the ladies. But the consistency part is like, yes, it seems like there's so many different aspects to look at, but it's one of the reasons why so many high achieving women aren't actually getting to where they want to be. They feel consistent, right? You feel it because you repeat this, like I said, on average, my own research, 20 to 25 day average, 21 day cycle, let's just say, where they stop and start, stop and start, stop and start. And then you might think, well, I tried really hard in those 3 weeks, for example. I tried really hard in those 3 weeks, Jess, and now I've had like 3 weeks off. And I didn't make any what's the word I'm looking for? I didn't make any leeway, even though I put in some work for 3 weeks. 3 weeks. Your subconscious reprogramming, your identity, and your regulation takes a little bit longer than 3 weeks. It's why it's a minimum of 4 months in my mastermind. And then a lot of these women, they either extend their mastermind time, or it's a lot of the reason why my one-on-one clients have stayed with me a couple of years. They have some breaks in between, and then they come back. New levels, new devils. Is the stopping and starting okay? Absolutely. Look, never shame. This work, not about judgment. It's not about self-judgment. It's not about shaming ourselves. It's about granting ourselves grace to become aware. I have 2 versions of awareness I speak about. And everyone watching, I want you to start to shift into the second awareness. The first awareness is very spoken about in this industry. It's all about self-awareness. Self-awareness is, oh, I'm aware that I'm self-sabotaging. I'm aware that another 21 days or another month has gone by and then I just stop, or it gets too hard. That's self-awareness. The conscious awareness, and this is where I see a lot of the change with my clients, is I'm aware that every month, every other month, I'm stopping, showing up in my business, and then I add more things to my to-do list. I make myself feel more busy, more chaotic, which feeds into me feeling overwhelmed and burnt out. And then I start to compare myself to other coaches As compared to myself to other coaches, they're doing more, which means I'm not worthy enough. And then you feed into that cycle. That's conscious awareness. And then you start to witness, this is my self-talk. This is how I'm actually identifying. It's really crazy if you got honest with yourself, the fact that sometimes how you perceive yourself isn't actually how you consciously are. And it's not, again, it's not, we don't want shame. We don't want self-judgment. That does not serve us. But we want ourselves to be honest. Like, if you're not, and this is why my 3 phases work, they work time and time again. You can step and act as if, like identity shift, you don't have the programming and you can't regulate to a new capacity, it's lost. You can change your programming, but if you don't see yourself in the identity, it's lost. You can regulate, you can do all the breath work, the yoga, the meditations, the sound bowl healing. Like, I love those things. I'm not, by the way, I'm not like, I do those things all of the time. But I'm saying you can do all of that and be like at peace and regulate. But if your programming isn't on board with that regulation, it's never going to stick. But wouldn't momentum be lost? Okay, this is where we move into conscious awareness, because we then need to take self-responsibility for the part that we are playing in our own suffering. And that is self-trust. That is healing the relationship with yourself. This is part of everything I do in this business and what I share. And this is why I do, like, Q&As like this live, because I want to share this. It's about your ability to call yourself out and say, am I the one making myself suffer? So many people are blaming the economy. So many people are blaming social media. People blame Elon Musk. People blame their grocery stores. People blame their parents. We can witness that maybe they have had an impact, but it is only up to us to, as I said, take responsibility for the part that we are playing in our own suffering. And when we do that, it can be a hit to the ego, yes, but then it allows us to take some steps to move forward. Love this. This is great. Hello to everyone on YouTube. Great questions overall. Honestly, if you are just vibing with this and you want a space of, like, my mastermind women, I do have 2 spots only open for one-on-one, but if you want a collaborative space, like, my mastery mastermind is just freaking incredible. It's like, imagine these conversations every week in Voxer, in a phone call, in a group call, a mastermind call. You also get 1 day of one-on-one support as well. Like, it's high touch point, it's high intensive, but it's like, are we changing our lives? Are we upgrading our lives? Are we doing everything we can to upgrade our lives? And I think that's the fun part. But I hope that you, everyone on YouTube, everyone here on TikTok, thank you for the amazing, incredible questions as well. But everyone watching this, I hope that you have got something from this. And go away and remember that overall, with everything I've said, is just be consistent. Call yourself out. And the 1% of messy inspired action isn't just this every single day. It's also this. I was doing some reflection just before I let you all go. Last night I was sitting on my balcony, and a future scripting journaling that I did in 2017, I found it recently. And I said, future scripting for everyone is when you journal, but from the present tense for something you want to manifest. So this 2017 journal entry was like, I am so grateful for my my high-level apartment that's overlooking the city with light floorboards and the afternoon sun that comes into the apartment. Like, light floorboards, the city, I can see the city from my balcony, from where I am right now. The afternoon sun hits. But do you think if I just thought I need to go from, like, 2017, I didn't have this business. I wasn't living in this state where I'm currently living. Everything, I was in a very toxic relationship. Everything was so different. But do you think if I just fixated on, like, I need to go from there to where I am now? No. Every day, if it's anything that I heal, I will die on. It's like 1% of messy inspired action consistency. I've had days, I promise you, I've showed up, but it's literally looked like this. And then I've had days where I'm like, Yes, sometimes it's just hard to accept the time. Of course, but you don't know a timeline. I wrote that in 2017, and 2017, Jess probably wanted it right then, or probably wanted it in that year, like in the next year, like give me that apartment. And how long? 2017, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 8 years. 8 years. I had no idea that I would be where I currently am in this city with the partner that I'm with. And so I think it's like, as long as you're always doing the things, like everyone come back and listen to this recording. And if you love this, I also have a podcast, the Jessica Pinelli podcast. I riff about all this stuff all the time if you want to hear a bit more. As you know, I love to give the practical points as well, so you can go away and take action. But it's only happened. I mean, there's many things, but really a hill I will die on is a consistent part. Trust that everything is working out in your favor, but it only works out in your favor if you're taking that action. So I hope this has given everyone something to think about. I'm about to go to lunch with my partner, actually. I wanted to go live beforehand. I was like, I need to share this message. I hope it's helped you. Come follow me on Instagram as well if you want to learn more. If you want to apply for the mastermind, definitely slide into my DMs, have a chat with me. This is what we talk about. These are the Q&As we have in the mastermind that I might even tell my masterminders as well after our call tonight, like go watch my live. I've spoken to you guys and I've given you guys stuff that I would my clients. Have an amazing day. You too. Thank you so much for the incredible questions. And thank you everyone to here on YouTube as well. Thank you for all of the likes. I appreciate you all. Have an amazing day and an amazing night wherever you're watching. And I will speak to you soon. Bye. See you later, YouTube.